All good. Sheila, if you want to just get us started.
Hi John, how you doing?
Well, Sheila, are you okay?
Good, thanks. Can you give us any more information on Jamie Ritchie's injury? Are we likely to see him again in this tournament?
Well, we're going to find out more this afternoon. He's just currently seen a specialist, so hopefully we'll have full feedback on that. He got his scan, so that they have the results. It's just a case of being spoken through and see how long he's going to be unavailable for.
Big miss for you.
He is, yeah. He's one of been a top player for us over the last few years, really growing as a leader as well. So it'll be a big miss, but our squad prepared for that. We've got it's a very physical competition. So backing up England into Wales, you'll be looking at the depth of the squad and where you can freshen up. So we'll be prepared for who can come in. And although a miss, we've got other good players that'll come in.
I imagine it's a very happy camp at the moment, but what's the debrief been like after the weekend, and what can you take going forward?
Look, I think a lot of emotion after the final whistle, but I think a real maturity in the group. We're here in the same position last year. Fantastic start to the competition, and then for us to grow now, we've got to back that up. So the special moments, with the full Murrayfield singing and supporting the lads as they come off the field and seeing them lift the cup, that's special. You've got to enjoy that. But it was very much, realistic that we didn't actually play well. It was a pretty scrappy game, and it was a narrow win at home. So nobody's getting carried away. Everybody was back to work yesterday afternoon, and it's been a really productive day today. Looking forward to Wales.
Thank you.
Hi, John. Good, thank you. In a way, does that excite you? You, of course, always want to put your best performance on the field, but the fact that you've beaten a team as good as England, and as you say, and I think Gregor made the point as well, you didn't reach your full capacity. Is that exciting in a way that there's still so much more to come?
It is, yeah, and I think that's what the key messages have been today around that, is that we had opportunities and looking at stats, for us being a team that usually dominating possession and having lots of ball, we had to live off, very fine scraps at the weekend there, and we put some great moments together, and we know that there is an opportunity. Hopefully, we had some difficult weather as well as a really difficult opponent at the weekend. Going away to Wales now against probably one of the most formidable teams away from home is just a huge challenge. So, but there is an opportunity for us to develop and grow as a team this week again, and try and take another step forward. And we'll need to be better this weekend against Wales.
I'm sure you're all fed up talking about favourites tags and all this stuff that came in the build-up last week, but a lot of people do see you as being very strong at the moment. Wales had a very difficult start to the championship, but are you comfortable with that? If people want to say Scotland are the stronger team, has this team now got the belief that it doesn't really matter what you say about them, that they've got enough belief in themselves to go down there and do a job?
Look, I think we've had a couple of results now that it's not been one-offs. We are a team that believe that we can go up against any team and win, but the stats are we haven't won down there since like 1984. So in terms of favourites, I'm not quite sure about that. So a full Millennium Stadium with Wales playing their brand of rugby at home is formidable. We've got to prove that we are that team and we can go there and we can back up results with other good results.
Can I just ask you, John? Gregor gets a lot of the credit. He's the man in the limelight. Steve Tandy's defence is rightly held up, the work that he's done, and you kind of go about your business in the background and don't court all the attention. But everyone has been very impressed with the development of this Scotland pack in recent times. How proud are you of their efforts, and how much are you just relishing being part of all this?
I know it sounds a bit cringe, but I couldn't ask for a better group of players. I've got special relationships with a lot of them through my 7 years with them in their 20s. I've said that, and I think a lot of coaching's about those relationships. We understand each other. It's more than just the coaching. We can support each other off the field as well. But they're a fantastic group, and they make my job easy. To be fair, we weren't even back to the hotel, and guys are downloading the game onto apps, and they're sending each other clips, and they're talking about how we move forward and how we get better. And they're a huge part of what we do. It's the coaches as a whole. We are supported massively by the players. It's a very open. It's a real pleasure. To be here, and it's tough. These games can go two ways. And the Six Nations is all about momentum. And the boys were very grounded at where they were, and we can be better, and as a part we can be better. There was elements there where England really pushed the boundaries, and the challenge of international rugby is you come together and you've got short time on the grass because it's so much about recovery, and we've got to try and get systems and a lot into place. So the game will have done us a lot of good at the weekend. There was a few areas where we were second best, and that's the exciting part about growing now into the competition. We can get better as a forward pack, and we can work on all the stuff that was good, and we can fix a few things and hopefully be better this weekend.
Good man. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Just one from me, John. Why do you think Scotland have struggled in Cardiff so much over the years?
Well, if you look, Wales have been, lucky to have so many world-class players over all the years, and even through so I suppose a difficult 20 years for them, they were still winning Six Nations regularly. They had a plethora of players that were playing brilliantly domestically in their clubs, and they do get that extra man, as we do at Murrayfield, with that crowd, the occasion, the stadium has a lot of memories for them. So we've got to get through that, and we've got to blank that out really. Maybe that's something we've not been able to do before. Our lads, it's the same guys that we play against domestically in the URC. We've got to get down there and I suppose show maturity in our group now that we're not that Scotland of old that win one and dwell on it and then we can't go to the difficult places and win. We need to prove that to everyone and to ourselves that we can, and I can see that with the focus and the motivation that the lads have to get back on the field today. So hopefully we can keep building towards the weekend.
If we want to move on to written now, please.
John, can I ask, you got a hooker injured at all, or why is David Cherry been called in?
Well, David was going to join up with us last week. Obviously, we're really lucky with the depth we've got at hooker at the moment. Dave was a huge part of the Six Nations last year, and he came in and played wonderfully. And I look just in terms of the form, the other hookers, George, we've still got Fraser who joined us over the weekend as well. We feel like we want to try and get everybody involved at some point and not just wait till there's an injury or a concern. We want these guys in, understanding the systems and how it differs maybe a little bit from the club that they're playing in, and make sure that if called upon and when needed that we've got 7 hookers available that can come in and do a job.
So everybody fine? Just
yeah.
That's great. Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you.
John, Josh Bayliss is still. I mean, I take it it's the same as before. He's got this concussion issue, and it's just when it clears up, it clears up. Is that fair to say? That's
right. Yeah, I think it was one of them complex ones that had a little bit more symptoms. So we've got to be careful with that. And just it's been a couple of weeks now, and when you're moving, even with travel and whatever else, it's best for Josh to stay with some consistency around his medical team. We're confident he's not too far away, and hopefully he'll be able to come back and play some part in the Six Nations. Obviously, post Wales, we've got a week off, and hopefully everything should be tidied up to rejoin us after that.
And looking back at the England game, you've talked about, the great thing is there's improvements being made. We didn't get a lot of ball. Scotland didn't get a lot of ball on Saturday. I mean, how do you? It's a big question. How do you change that? How are you going to make sure you get a lot more ball against Wales on this coming Saturday?
Yeah, well, I think they're. In terms of set pieces, and they kicked a lot of ball to us, so it was the types of possession they were given to us, and I think that's what generally we relish. Obviously, the weather and the wet ball and whatever. But we had 16 lineouts, we had 4, 5, 6 scrums, so we had enough of it. It's maybe we just didn't use it well enough. Maybe some of the plays didn't get through the phases that we were needing to get through, or an odd error here and there. But I think that was the same for both teams. It was very difficult conditions on the field in terms of swirling wind and wet ball, and the motion of that first game. But I think the amount of ball we had, it's just the use of it that we'll be looking to improve on this week.
Do we need to get more? Do you need to get more carrying out of the big forwards, the type 5? If you looked at the stats, there was quite there wasn't many yards made there.
No, there wasn't. And in terms of that, as I said, like the types of possessions you're getting to run back, thought we kicked very well at times as well to try and find space to then create more, what we'd call better ball in terms of counter attack. But I think that we had maybe 2 or 3 passages of play where we really looked at our best, but it just wasn't that polished performance for us, which is encouraging because historically we might have lost that game by the same way, but we found a way to win it, and we know we can be better going forward.
Thanks, John.
John, can I ask? I know you don't want to give away any secrets, but will you be looking for a like-for-like kind of change with Jamie, or will you go for something else? I'm thinking Sam Skinner's a very different kind of player. So is Magnus. So is Rory Darge.
Yeah, well, look, Rory's been outstanding, hasn't he? In form, and that's the thing. It's in terms of players that are on form and so close. It's he's having to work in that we have players around it. So in terms of it, we've got quite a few options around that. You've got Magnus Bradbury in there as well. We've got options, the other players that can play at 6. So in terms of how we develop into tomorrow, we'll be looking at what we feel is the best, I suppose, blend in our back row to counter the threats that we feel Wales will pose.
John, if I could just jump in and ask you a Welsh question, if I could. Before the players went into camp, Edinburgh thumped Cardiff and Glasgow thumped the Ospreys, and now Wales have just been, on the wrong end of a pretty hefty defeat in Ireland. What do you make of the challenge you'll face this weekend compared to perhaps years gone by?
Yeah, I think, look, we didn't, and I know, spend a bit of time in the Edinburgh camp. I know they didn't get carried away with the Cardiff result. Cardiff had a horrific time with COVID and players not playing, and they were very undercooked there. The key part is probably from that game to now that they have had minutes under their belts, a lot of the players, and they'll be in a better position. Same with the Ospreys. So look at pulling on a red jersey at the Millennium Stadium for them is going to be different. So we don't read anything into it. We've had good results against Wales domestically over the years, and not been able to go to Cardiff and win. So we're fully focused. We know the quality that Wales possess, and we know that they'll probably have a few players returning that didn't play against Ireland this week. So we've got to be our very best this week, and we've got to really focus on ourselves and not worry too much about Wales or get our heads twisted with anything that's going around, because Wales playing at Millennium will be at the top of their game.
So what did you make of Wales at the weekend?
Yeah, we watched the game. Like in terms of it, I think the start that Ireland got, Ireland have been one of people's favourites for the tournament. They've been building. They've had some great results, and they're a formidable team. And when they get it right, it's difficult. And maybe it was around that start Ireland dominated the first 20-30 minutes and got themselves above in the scoreboard. And that's tough in the Six Nations to go behind with that much away from home and try and claw it back. So that's another good lesson for us as well. It's about momentum, it's about start. And I'm sure that Wales will fix a lot of things from last week and look at this as a brand new opportunity.
And looking at the back row, it would be pretty much impossible for you to play Rory Darge and Hamish Watson together, wouldn't it? Particularly because of the line out. It's an either or, isn't it, really?
Well, no. It's all based on what we do. I think if you look at Jamie when he first started, Jamie was a 7, and that was the model we went for, the 2 7s in the back row. And it's credit to Jamie how he's developed as a player. He's almost a hybrid player. He's used well at the line out, but it's a strength in Rory Darge's armoury as well in terms of line out and being that option. He's played a lot at 8 as well. So in terms of that skill set, he does tick a box as well, and it allows Hamish to play that. So now we've got a lot of different horses for courses, and as I say, it's just about the blend that's going to, I suppose, counter the threats that Wales pose.
Cheers.
John, are you able to clarify the exact nature of Jamie's injury? I think Gregor had said after the game it was like a hamstring groin thing. He wasn't too sure.
Yeah, I think it's definitely neural at the back of the hamstring. It was just looked like a slippery pitch going backwards. He almost did the splits pretty badly, and he felt something go at the back of his leg. So he was scanned pretty quickly, and he's now, I think he's with them at the moment, just trying to work out what damage has been done. So we'll find out, and we'll see what his return looks like. Hopefully not too bad, and hopefully we can get him back as soon as possible.
Thank you. Cheers.
All right, thanks everyone.
Sorry, John, can I just clarify in terms of, I know Jamie's the only one that's kind of, and Josh, is everyone else trained today, or was there guys a few guys being wrapped in cotton wool, or kind of?
Yeah, so what we do on a Monday is just a clarity day. So everybody did clarity this morning, which is a bit of walk jog. This afternoon we'll play a bit of condition games, which involve a bit of a flush out. So some guys just probably not ready to go into that type of session. So did the morning would stand out this afternoon, but everybody will be back to full training tomorrow just as part of that recovery. So It's a big part coming off the weekend there. The S&C staff's probably our point of difference at the moment, the way that they get the guys turned around for the following weekend.
Magic. Thanks, John.
So.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, John.